A year after I married Qi Xiaomu, his younger brother Qi Zhaoyuan, who had been missing for 3 years, returned safely. It was only then that I realized my husband and his younger brother looked exactly alike. From then on, my husband seemed to have changed into a different person. The way he looked at me became increasingly gloomy and obsessive. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. Qi Zhaoyuan is about to return home. And the mansion has been growing increasingly lively these past few days, with preparations starting early. To outsiders, the scene might look as if my husband is about to take a concubine. It's no wonder people would think that, after all, on the surface, the Qi family now only has my husband, Qi Xiaomu, as the sole young master. Lost in thought in my room, I didn't notice when Qi Xiaomu returned, carrying the chill of the outside, and wrapped his arms around me from behind. I tilted my head slightly to look at him. Are you tired today? Qi Xiaomu tightened his arm around me. A little tired. Will you comfort me, Wanwan? Before I could answer, Qi Xiaomu's nose was already nuzzling against my ear, his warm breath instantly washing over me. One large hand pressed firmly against my waist, while the other slid downward, suddenly exerting force at the bend of my knee to lift me up. Qi Xiaomu's eyes were inscrutable. What were you thinking about just now? I was startled by his movement, wrapping my arms around his neck to keep from falling. Just now, just spacing out, but seeing the dangerous look in Qi Xiaomu's eyes, I wisely said, I was thinking of you. As soon as the words fell, a flurry of delicate kisses came rushing in. By the time I realized what was happening, my outer robe had already fallen off without me noticing. Looking up, I only saw the barely concealed desire in Qi Xiaomu's eyes. For some reason, I had a bad feeling. Weren't you a bit tired? For some reason, just seeing Wanwan makes me feel full of energy. Quite full of energy indeed, I noticed. Since that approach didn't work, I had to try a softer tactic. Husband, I'm so tired today. I've been decorating so many areas around the house. Qi Xiaomu has excellent self-control. I believe he can restrain himself. He ruffled my hair and said gently, then, Wanwan, rest soon. I just really missed you. He knew exactly how to soften my heart. But I couldn't let him have his way every time. I had my pride too. You know, when I was out traveling, I kept thinking how nice it would be if Wanwan were by my side. I pursed my lips, unmoved. Isn't this a meeting? Moreover, in the year since their marriage, they had hardly been apart for any significant length of time. The temperature has dropped recently, but thankfully I haven't caught a cold, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to come see Wanwan. Qi Xiaomu's gaze was intense yet tinged with a hint of pitifulness. Mostly, I was afraid of passing the illness to Wanwan, playing the pity card again. Still afraid I wouldn't understand, he added an explanation. No, how could he use something that hasn't even happened to gain sympathy? Wanwan, you needn't worry about me. As long as Wanwan is well, your husband is happy. I glanced at Qi Xiaomu. After saying something like that, and I'm not supposed to care about him. Under Qi Xiaomu's advances, I couldn't help but sigh. What a perfect white lotus husband. Finally, clutching the corner of clothing that wasn't mine, I bit my lip and said resentfully, I really am such a pushover. A muffled laugh sounded by my ear, and someone whispered softly, Wanwan, it really is very soft. According to the housekeeper, Qi Xiaomu's younger brother, that is, the second young master of the Qi family, is named Qi Zhaoyuan. Qi Xiaomu took over the family business. While Qi Zhaoyuan chose to enter government service, everything was perfect until 3 years ago, when Qi Zhaoyuan went missing while investigating a case. I heard that over these 3 years, Qi Zhaoyuan has been undercover, and the counterfeit silver case from back then was successfully solved. His return is sure to bring him a promotion and a higher rank. That's excellent. Having connections in the official circles will surely add even more success to my husband's business. However, Qi Xiaomu was a bit strange today. He didn't get up early as usual but waited to rise together with me. At this time of day, he would usually have already gone out. Is there nothing to attend to in business today? I stood up and asked. There is. I wanted to discuss it with Wanwan. Qi Xiaomu began telling me about this business matter. I roughly understood this was a major deal. He needed to travel far to make purchases. a trip that would take at least 3 to 5 months. Or as long as 1 or 2 years, but we've only been married for a year. I didn't quite know how to respond. Father often traveled far for business, and mother would wait for him for long periods. In the end, she not only waited for father's return but also for a concubine and an illegitimate son. Since then, my father's eyes no longer saw my mother or me. What mattered most to him was that son. I want to take you with me. Qi Xiaomu's voice instantly shattered my memories. I froze for a moment. Somewhat uncertain. Together, yes, I don't want to leave you alone, Qi Xiaomu confirmed once more. I am very happy, but then I suddenly thought of my mother-in-law. If I leave, there will be no one in this vast mansion to talk with her. As if knowing what I was thinking, Qi Xiaomu slowly said, "A Yuan will be back home within 10 days. Mother won't be lonely. Oh right. The family will soon have another younger brother-in-law. All right, I'll go with you." I made up my mind. Qi Xiaomu had nothing to do these past few days and spent all his time thinking about fooling around. I really couldn't stand it anymore. Fortunately, we were about to set off soon, so I figured he would rein it in a bit. Qi Xiaomu went to bid farewell to his mother-in-law, while I carefully checked the luggage once more. Once everything was arranged, I had the servant call Qi Xiaomu to leave. Suddenly, several carriages stopped in front of the Qi residence. The one leading the way blocked our carriage, and a man in a blue robe stepped down from it. Looking at the man getting out of the car, I felt a bit confused. "Husband, didn't you go to bid farewell to mother?" "Why?" My voice grew softer, gradually becoming uncertain. The man I called husband was now looking at me with confusion. "UWAN." Just as I was about to ask again, someone from behind wrapped their arms around me. "Why aren't you wearing a shawl? Be careful not to catch a cold." I looked at Qi Xiaomu beside me, then at the man in the blue robe across from us. Yes, they looked exactly alike, but there was still something different about them. No wonder I felt something was off just now. It seemed this man must be Qi Xiaomu's younger brother, Qi Jiaoyuan, but how did Qi Jiaoyuan know my name? "Ah Yuan, you're back." Without waiting for my response, Qi Xiaomu immediately began catching up with his younger brother. Qi Jiaoyuan turned his gaze toward me. "Brother, who is this? I forgot to introduce you. This is your sister-in-law. We've been married for over a year." Following his gaze, Qi Xiaomu also looked at me and said with a faint smile, "My dear, this is my twin brother, Qi Jiaoyuan." I received Qi Xiaomu's message and immediately smiled sweetly. "Hello, are Yuan, sister-in-law?" "Hello." After a moment of stunned silence, Qi Xiaomu finally replied in a low voice. Probably couldn't quite accept having gained a sister-in-law so suddenly. Qi Jiaoyuan seemed about to say something more, but was cut off by Qi Xiaomu's words. "Mother is still waiting for you. You should hurry along." Qi Xiaomu simply pulled me away and left. I was puzzled. The two brothers hadn't seen each other for 3 years, and Qi Jiaoyuan had only just returned after narrowly escaping death. Was their reunion really going to end with just a few words like that? Because Qi Jiaoyuan had returned early, mother-in-law was overjoyed and insisted that we stay a few more days before setting off. In the evening, my mother-in-law set out a small feast at home. As there were only a few of us in the household today, the atmosphere at the dinner table was harmonious. It had been a long time since I married into the family, and I had never seen my mother-in-law so happy. For nearly half an hour, my mother-in-law kept adding dishes and soup to Qi Xiaoyuan's bowl, refusing even the servant's help. Looking at the mountain of food piled in Qi Xiaoyuan's bowl, and then at the few pitiful vegetables in Qi Xiaomu's bowl, I sighed silently in my heart. Fortunately, he has a good wife. I picked up a piece of braised pork and placed it in Qi Xiaomu's bowl. "Husband, don't just eat vegetables, have some meat." Qi Xiaomu was very considerate and also served me some dishes. He helped me reach everything I couldn't get. "Alright, I admit, he's also a good husband." The relationship between brother and sister-in-law is really good. Qi Jiaoyuan suddenly spoke up. Although these words were addressed to both of us, his gaze only fell on Qi Xiaomu. "If our Yuan is envious, just have mother arrange a marriage for you soon." Qi Xiaomu met Qi Xiaoyuan's gaze, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth, for some reason. Qi Xiaomu's smile always seemed a bit sinister when he spoke. "Why is Yuan coughing? Did she catch a cold?" the atmosphere between the two was broken by the mother-in-law. "Just an old injury acting up, it's nothing serious." "Mother, how can it be nothing? Quickly call for a doctor to take a look." The two of them went back and forth, and in the end, they called for a doctor. After examining him, the doctor prescribed a few doses of medicine and simply advised rest and recuperation. "I have some high-quality wound medicine at my place. I'll bring it over for my brother-in-law later." I prepared to take Qi Zhaomu and escape from there. "Let's go back and look for it first." Although I had heard the servants mention it before, my mother-in-law favored the second son. I never expected such a vast difference in attitude. A year ago, Qi Zhaomu encountered bandits while traveling for business and nearly lost his life, barely escaping with half of it intact. My mother-in-law merely brushed it off, telling the physician to do his best to save him. At the time, I was so frightened that tears welled up in my eyes, thinking my mother-in-law's calm composure was simply the dignified bearing of a matriarch. It turns out it wasn't that. The calmness was simply because of indifference. I pulled Qi Zhaomu back to the courtyard and asked him to wait in the room for a moment while I went to get the medicine. After rummaging through the side room for a long time, I finally found it. I hurried back to find Qi Zhaomu, thinking we could deliver the medicine together and make it a quick trip, but I never expected to see such a scene. Broken porcelain pieces were scattered on the floor, and Qi Zhaomu's blood dripped from his fingertips. He seemed unable to process what had happened, staring blankly at the blood on his fingers without moving. I hurriedly searched for a handkerchief to press against his wound. "How could you be so careless?" After pressing for a long time, once the bleeding stopped, I unwrapped the wound medicine and prepared to apply it. Qi Zhaomu stopped my hand, lowering his eyes. "If I use this, what will I have left for a yuan?" I firmly pulled his hand over and sprinkled the medicine on it. Is the Qi mansion short of such medicine? Besides, the thought is what counts. I'll have the servant send some other tonics over later. All right. Qi Zhaomu quietly watched me. There seemed to be a glimmer of light in his eyes. For some reason, I felt he was in a good mood. I glanced at the medicine bottle in my hand. It was the one I had obtained from the divine doctor when he was severely injured. We had used a lot of it back then, but I never expected the remainder would still come in handy for him. But was he really careless? While wandering idly in the mansion, I unexpectedly ran into Qi Zhaoyuan. I'm not familiar with him. And coupled with the fact that he has the same face as Qi Zhaomu, I find it rather strange. "How is your uncle's health? What did the doctor say?" Qi Zhaoyuan turned to me and smiled, saying, "Thank you for your concern, sister-in-law. I'm doing well." "That's good to hear." I nodded with a smile. After the pleasantries were exchanged, I wanted to leave, but Qi Zhaoyuan called out to stop me. "Yesterday I heard you mention medicinal ointment, so why did the delivery turn out to be tonics instead?" I didn't expect Qi Zhaoyuan to ask this, and I froze for a moment. "The wound medicine is all used up, so that's how it is." Qi Zhaoyuan nodded slightly. "Sister-in-law, have you noticed anything strange about my elder brother?" I had indeed noticed something, but hearing him say this, did he know the reason? Does my brother-in-law know the reason? Qi Zhaoyuan gazed at me, a faint, elusive smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Sister-in-law, did you know that in the past, many people couldn't tell me and my elder brother apart?" I felt there was a deeper meaning behind his smile and words, and wanted to press further, but was interrupted by the arrival of Qi Zhaomu. "So this is where you are, my lady." He smiled and took my hand. I was wondering where my wife had run off to. Had me worried for a moment. "What is there to worry about in the mansion?" Qi Zhaoyuan suddenly laughed. "Perhaps it's precisely because we're in the mansion that elder brother is even more worried." Qi Zhaomu's eyes flickered, a slight chill emanating from him. "Yuan, you do love to jest. Your sister-in-law and I are inseparable, glued together like lacquer. Of course I worry about her. When you get married, you'll understand." After a few moments of silence, Qi Zhaoyuan's gaze fell on Qi Zhaomu's bandaged hand. Not sure what came to mind, but Qi Zhaoyuan curled his lips. "Brother, what a clever scheme. Only by cracking major cases can Yuan truly be considered both brave and resourceful." Qi Zhaomu responded calmly. My eyes darted back and forth between the two of them. What are they actually doing? How did it come to scheming? After staying for a few days, it was about time. Qi Zhaomu, and I packed up again, ready to go out. Qi Zhaoyuan came to me, saying it was a matter of courtesy to return the favor, to thank me for the previous supplements. I have nothing else to give. This moon Kailan incense is what I often use. It has calming and sleep-aiding effects. My elder brother also likes it very much. Qi Zhaoyuan handed over a box of incense. Husband, do you like this? I was somewhat surprised. Since I've known him, I've always seen him burning agarwood, so I thought he only liked agarwood. I was about to accept the thanks when my hand was grasped by a large one. It was a long time ago. I don't like it anymore. Qi Zhaomu suddenly appeared. Why have you been so elusive lately? Every time I have a casual chat with Qi Zhaoyuan, my husband quickly rushes over. We appreciate our Yuan's kindness, but my wife and I are accustomed to using agarwood. A sudden change in incense might not be suitable. Qi Zhaomu declined with just a few words. Qi Zhaoyuan quietly put away the box in his embrace and said with a smile, "Brother, why are you so domineering, directly refusing on sister-in-law's behalf? You like agarwood now, but who's to say sister-in-law won't come to prefer moon orchid in the future?" No, as Qi Zhaomu said this, he tightly grasped my hand. He probably wasn't entirely sure himself. What do you think, sister-in-law? Qi Zhaoyuan directly tossed the decision to me. You shouldn't just use what my brother likes. You should care more about what you like. I tried hard to think about it. I always felt there was something off about these two brothers. And why does this younger uncle have the faint fragrance of green tea wafting around him? You're right, I do care more about what I like, but whatever my husband likes, I like too. I never used to like burning incense, but after being with Qi Zhaomu for so long, I gradually grew accustomed to the scent of agarwood. Every time I smell it, I feel a sense of peace. Besides, if Qi Zhaomu didn't want to accept it, he must have his reasons. Having been in business for so long, he was skilled at reading people's expressions. If he was so unwilling to give Qi Zhaoyuan face, there must be something going on between them. After expressing his gratitude to Qi Zhaoyuan, he hurriedly left. The carriage gradually disappeared into the distance, staring at the solitary figure standing in front of the Qi residence, thinking of that face, so strikingly similar to Qi Zhaomu's. I couldn't help but lose myself in thought. I don't know how much time had passed, but when I finally snapped out of it, I realized Qi Zhaomu was staring at me without blinking. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Before I could ask, Qi Zhaomu spoke first. After carefully thinking it over, I finally said, "The moon orchid incense just now felt very familiar. I think I've smelled it somewhere before." I was lost in thought. Not noticing the fleeting look of surprise that crossed Qi Zhaomu's face, I noticed his face was a bit pale, and I started to worry. "Are you feeling unwell?" I raised my hand to check his forehead, but he pulled me into his arms instead. "I am a little unwell." Qi Zhaomu held me tighter and, after a long pause, said, "Wanwan, let me hold you for a while." I didn't dare move, so I let him hold me. "Why are you suddenly feeling unwell?" "It seems I need to find a doctor to take a look." When we reached the post station, we arrived at the post station. I wanted to request a medical consultation, but Qi Zhaomu stopped me. He said he was fine. Watching him busily tidying up, it really did seem like he was okay. But his obsessive cleanliness is quite severe. He's already made the bed 3 times. I interrupted him and pulled him away to freshen up a bit. Just before falling asleep, Qi Zhaomu lit the sandalwood incense as usual. And a sudden inspiration seemed to flash through my mind. "I've got it." I suddenly sat up. However, Qi Zhaomu wasn't startled by my sudden outburst. He asked gently, "What has Wanwan figured out?" "I know where I've smelled the moon orchid fragrance before." Without noticing Qi Zhaomu's expression, I continued on my own. 3 years ago, when we met during the Lantern Festival, you were wearing this very scent." I carefully recalled it again. "I think I said back then that your fragrance was pleasant and familiar, making me feel at ease. You even said you'd give me some later." Qi Zhaomu also told me the name and origin of this incense, and then we continued to talk about many things. That was how we first met. I reminisced alone for a long time, but Qi Zhaomu didn't chime in. I looked at Qi Zhaomu, but the words in my mouth suddenly got stuck. Qi Zhaomu's face was pale, but his gaze was fixed intently on me. I swallowed nervously without thinking and said anxiously, What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell again? His complexion was truly frightening. I said earlier that we should find a doctor. Qi Xiaomu's eyes were slightly red as he slowly pulled me into his embrace. I don't remember. I gently patted his back. If you don't remember, then you don't remember. It wasn't a big deal anyway. Qi Xiaomu held me tighter and tighter. Does one like the me of now, or the me of back then? Qi Xiaomu's voice trembled slightly at the end. I grew increasingly worried what exactly was wrong with him. Qi Xiaomu quietly waited for my answer. After careful consideration, I decided to give the safest answer. I like them all. But as soon as I finished speaking, Qi Xiaomu started acting crazy. No. Qi Xiaomu kept muttering. I didn't understand. I had been so sincere. What was wrong with that answer? Qi Xiaomu pressed down, his kisses falling in a fine, dense shower. Amid the constant tugging and pulling, a scalding drop fell onto my face. Only me, it can only be me. I was kissed into a daze by Qi Xiaomu, completely oblivious to his words. He didn't even think about why he was reacting this way. Until the early morning, Qi Xiaomu carried me onto the carriage. I still don't understand what kind of madness has come over him. I didn't want to pay him any attention, but Qi Xiaomu always patiently coaxed me, no matter how unreasonable my demands were. He would nod and agree. At the end, he even asked me, "Are these all the requirements?" Wanwan, it seems like I haven't made enough demands. No, I pushed my luck further. From today until we return home, you must not, absolutely not, indulge in lust. All right, Qi Xiaomu agreed without hesitation. You agreed so easily. All right then, I won't be angry anymore. After traveling for over a month, we finally reached our destination. This past month has been too exhausting for me, so I went straight to the inn and booked 2 superior rooms. Seriously, tell Qi Xiaomu, we're sleeping in separate rooms. That dog of a man, he agreed with his mouth full of promises, yet is playing word games with me. He says that indulgence is about giving in to desires without restraint, and since we have restraint, it doesn't count. I haven't seen him show any restraint at all, at my firm insistence. We ended up getting 2 rooms. Looking at the room without Qi Xiaomu in it, I was absolutely delighted. Taking my full little purse, I brought along 2 maids and 2 servants to go out shopping. This was my first time traveling far from home in my life, so I was determined to take a good look around. But at this moment, looking at the child beside me with snot and tears streaming down, I felt a bit of a headache. Stop crying first. What's your name? Do you remember where you live? After asking for a long time without getting any useful information, I had no choice but to take him to the nearby government office. Come to think of it, I also got lost once when I was a child. That winter, after being repeatedly ignored by my father, I ran away from home. At first, I only dared to crouch in the alley not far from home, thinking that if my father came looking for me, he would find me right away. I always believed my father would come looking for me, because before I ran away, I left a letter for him, and only for him. But I stood in the snow for so long that I didn't even know when I passed out from the cold. When I woke up, a small fur cloak was draped over me. It was a young man as delicate as carved jade, and he was exceptionally handsome, so handsome that I was momentarily speechless. Awake, are you all right? The boy asked, frowning as he looked at me. I shook my head. Later, I forgot what the boy said, only remembering that he said he would take me away. I was very pleased. You see, even if my father doesn't want me, someone will. I am not redundant. He bought steamed buns for me to eat, but only for me, not for himself. I suppose he didn't have any money either, so I shared half of the steaming bun in my hand with the boy. Let's eat together. From now on, we'll have to rely on each other, so naturally we should support one another. I can't be too selfish, even though I'm really hungry. Following the boy slowly, I felt very much at ease. This feeling stayed with me until he sent me to the authorities. The officials called my parents, and I was taken back home. My parents were very angry. They scolded me for wandering off and punished me by making me kneel in the ancestral hall all night. But I knew that none of them had even realized I was missing. They used their anger towards me to cover up their guilt. Father, mother. The snot-nosed child being carried by the servant shouted loudly. The couple in front of the government office turned around, extremely anxious. Yanga, The young couple took the child and thanked them repeatedly. After a long while, the two finally left with their child, watching the three figures disappear into the distance. How wonderful, I thought. He has a pair of parents who truly cherish him. What's on your mind? Qi Xiaomu reached out and wrapped his arms around me. You've been feeling down since coming back from outside. Wanwan, nothing. I reached out and circled my arms around Qi Xiaomu's waist. Since marrying Qi Xiaomu, I've rarely returned home. After this shopping trip, I should go home for a visit. Feeling the hand at my waist slowly moving upward, I raised my hand and pushed Qi Xiaomu away. Who told you to come into my room? I clearly booked 2 rooms. Recently, there have been many traveling merchants, and this inn is fully occupied, Qi Xiaomu explained. At noon, a merchant group couldn't find a place to stay. So I kindly gave them the other room. I was both angry and amused by Qi Xiaomu's actions. You really are a great philanthropist. It's only right. Qi Xiaomu shamelessly took credit. I didn't want to joke with him. Then I discussed business matters with him, wanting to know approximately when we could return. Qi Xiaomu's opinion was that if things went smoothly, it would take a few months, if not, probably a year or so. I don't know why, but it seems he doesn't want to go back. I struggled to get up from the bed. Every time the topic of going home came up, he would become rather abnormal. No, to be more precise, he hasn't been quite normal lately. During the day, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but as soon as night fell, he would become completely frantic. He clung to me desperately, his eyes unable to conceal an obsessive intensity, as if I might vanish the very next moment. It wasn't like this before. Qi Xiaomu used to be gentle and restrained in such matters. In daily life, he was always accommodating and obedient to me. When did it all start to change? Recalling the events of the past few months in my mind, I suddenly realized, it seemed to have started when Qi Jiaoyuan returned home. No, it should have started when the news of Qi Jiaoyuan being alive arrived. Husband, do you not wish to be under the same roof with your younger brother? I finally asked directly. Qi Xiaomu's movements of dressing froze for a moment. After a long while, I finally heard him respond in a low voice. Hearing his answer, I understood in my heart. I didn't press for the reasons behind it. If my own mother had favored my younger brother over me, I would surely feel the same way. Didn't we receive a letter saying that your younger uncle has successfully solved a major case, been promoted, and granted a residence? He must not be living at home anymore. But never returning home isn't a solution either. Otherwise, why don't we move out? I have a residence in the southern part of the city from my dowry when I got married, I teased playfully. If you live in my house, in a way, it's like you're marrying into my family, and you'll have to listen to me in everything. How about it? I really miss my mother, and it's been so long since I last visited the Yu family. Okay. Qi Xiaomu's eyes held a hint of affection as he said, whatever you say, my lady. Qi Xiaomu finished his shopping. Although he tried to delay as much as possible, he couldn't be too late. When I returned home, it was the Lantern Festival, and also the birthday of Qi Xiaomu and Qi Jiaoyuan. Although a banquet had been set up in the mansion, it was already very late, and all the guests had dispersed. The Lantern Festival does not have the custom of hosting banquets for guests, so it was not difficult to see that these guests had come to celebrate the birthday of Qi Jiaoyuan in the household. I glanced at Qi Xiaomu beside me, and he showed no reaction to the surrounding scene. Let's go pay our respects to mother first. Hearing this, I nodded. All right. When we met my mother-in-law, Qi Xiaomu recounted recent events in the business world. While I listened quietly by the side, after Qi Xiaomu finished speaking, he said slowly, that's roughly the situation. It's getting late. Mother, you should rest early. Just as Qi Xiaomu was pulling me to leave, my mother-in-law called out to us, I didn't know you were coming back today. So I didn't have time to prepare anything. Since it's your birthday today, I'll give you this. She took out a jade pendant from the drawer beside her. It was of excellent quality and clearly very valuable. But the Qi family was never short of money. Both sons share the same birthday. If she truly cared, how could she not have found the time to prepare in advance? Thank you, mother. After expressing his gratitude, Qi Xiaomu took me back. Once we returned to the room, I began rummaging through my luggage, which was packed in large and small bags. Wanwan, What are you looking for? Qi Xiaomu found my relentless determination a bit odd. A gift, is this for me? Hearing Qi Xiaomu's question, I retorted, if I'm not giving it to my own husband, who else would I give it to? Indeed, it can only be given to me. Qi Xiaomu's eyes were filled with unconcealable delight. As soon as the words were spoken, I found my jewelry box. I handled it with such care when I put it away, wrapping it in many layers, only to end up searching for it for so long. I took out a woven bracelet from the bottom compartment of the jewelry box. I learned how to make this myself, looking at the simple, unadorned bracelet. I continued, wearing it brings good fortune. If he dares to dislike it, Qi Xiaomu is a dead man. If you mess with me, then, you've really messed with me. Qi Xiaomu took in my expression completely and extended his wrist to me. I really like it. Wanwan, help me put it on. I nodded with satisfaction at his understanding. While putting it on, I teased, once you wear my bracelet, you're my person. Qi Xiaomu said with a calm expression, I have always been Wanwan's person. Things got a bit busy after the holiday, so both the matter of moving out and returning to my parents' home were delayed for a few more days. Sister-in-law, hello, Qi Jiaoyuan said softly. For some reason, I always felt that the way Qi Jiaoyuan looked at me was a bit strange. Hello. I didn't want to interact too much, so I greeted him and prepared to leave. But before I could take a step, Qi Jiaoyuan said, I have a question I'd like to ask you. Sister-in-law, ask me. I looked at him with a puzzled expression. What is he up to? These past 2 days, I've been investigating a case. Qi Jiaoyuan briefly recounted the process of the case. Halfway through listening, I already felt the case was quite peculiar. How could a person's temperament change so suddenly? If they're not deliberately feigning madness, then it must be a case of switching identities. Qi Jiaoyuan smiled faintly. What you said, sister-in-law, is exactly what I was thinking. I asked about some more details of the case, and as we talked, I completely lost track of time. When I looked up, I suddenly noticed Qi Xiaomu not far away, staring intently at this spot. I instinctively paused the conversation and ran over to Qi Xiaomu's side. Only after taking Qi Xiaomu's hand did I feel the chill running down my spine lessen somewhat. Qi Xiaomu calmly asked, what were you and a Yuan discussing? Madam, are you also interested in some case details? Brother, case details. Before the case is solved, these shouldn't be convenient to disclose to outsiders, right? Brother and sister-in-law aren't outsiders. An undercurrent surged between Qi Jiaoyuan and Qi Xiaomu. To prevent the strange atmosphere between the two from escalating, I pulled Qi Xiaomu away first, all the way back. Qi Xiaomu was eerily silent. It wasn't until they returned to the room that Qi Xiaomu slowly spoke up. You seemed very happy chatting with a Yuan. It wasn't a question, he was simply describing the scene he had witnessed. I just found that case interesting, so I asked a few more questions about it. Before she could explain anything, Qi Xiaomu interrupted her. Will Wanwan always love me? What is this all about? Forget it. Smoothing his fur is more important. I will always love you. A large hand slowly caressed my cheek, Qi Xiaomu's voice trembling slightly. Wanwan, remember today's promise. I originally thought that this time would be like before, and it would be over once Qi Xiaomu finished his madness. Little did I know, he went even crazier. I looked helplessly at the silver chain around my ankle. When can I go out? He actually went behind my back to secretly set up this courtyard. Even though it was meant for me. Be good, Wanwan, Qi Xiaomu spoke, and a light kiss landed by my ear. Here we go again. Whenever I mention going out, he always acts like this. Are you planning to keep me locked up forever? Qi Xiaomu's eyes reddened at the corners as he stared at me without saying a word. After a long silence, I tried to enlighten Qi Xiaomu, but with little effect. His eyes gleamed with obsession as he trapped me in that confined space. My lady, I have always been such a despicable person. Nonsense. I struggled to push Qi Xiaomu's arm a little further away, feeling my breathing ease considerably. I continued, you are not a despicable person at all. In my heart, Qi Xiaomu is the best. Qi Xiaomu was stunned for a moment. Really? Then if I were to hide something from you, Wanwan, would you forgive me? Hide something? I widened my eyes slightly. Are you keeping another woman outside? Perhaps not expecting me to ask this, Qi Zhaomu froze for a moment and shook his head. Then did you commit murder or arson? Qi Zhaomu shook his head again. No, not at all. Then I might consider forgiving you. I put on a sweet smile. Now, can you tell me what this is about? Faced with such an eager gaze, Qi Zhaomu chose to cover his eyes with his hand. Wanwan, don't look at me like that. Let me think it over. Give me a little more time to consider. I didn't press him further, responding softly. All right, I'll wait for you. For nearly half a month, Qi Zhaomu stayed by my side almost every day. So who's been managing the family business lately? However, Qi Zhaomu has always been a master strategist. He must have made proper arrangements long ago. But when the household servants came looking for him, pleading for Qi Zhaomu to return quickly, I felt somewhat lost. From what I heard, the household was in complete chaos, with everyone searching for the two of them. So Qi Zhaomu, on a whim, took me away overnight without even saying a word. I could hardly believe it. This was so unlike Qi Zhaomu's usual style. It wasn't until a slap landed on Qi Zhaomu's cheek that I finally snapped out of my daze. What are you doing? I pulled Qi Zhaomu behind me to protect him and looked at the one who had struck him. Whatever needs to be said can be discussed calmly. Why must you resort to violence, mother? My mother-in-law's fingers trembled slightly as she struggled to suppress her anger. Do you have any idea how long the household has been searching for you? Everything is in chaos right now, and yet the two of you are so at ease. How could you be so reckless and selfish? Have you no shame before the Qi family? These words from my mother-in-law were directed at Qi Zhaomu. Before Qi Zhaomu could say anything, my mother-in-law furiously commanded, "Kneel down." Facing her mother-in-law's scolding, Qi Zhaomu calmly knelt down. It was I who forced Wanwan to come here. And it was I who prevented her from leaving. All of this is my fault. Punish me alone. Qi Zhaoyuan entered a step late and, seeing the situation, tried to mediate. Mother, my brother must have had his reasons. Let it go this time. No one's persuasion will work. The mother-in-law said coldly and was about to turn and leave. Why are you so biased? Mother, I looked at my mother-in-law before me and asked sincerely, even if my husband was at fault first. You didn't even ask for a reason before directly passing judgment. If it were your younger son who made a mistake today, would you treat him the same way? My mother-in-law paused in her steps, frowned, and said, he is the eldest son, the pillar of this family, representing the entire Qi family. Just because he is the eldest son, does that mean he isn't allowed even a single moment of indulgence? Yes, that is his responsibility. I found it somewhat amusing. Your eldest and second sons are only about the time it takes for an incense stick to burn apart, aren't they? Upon hearing my words, my mother-in-law seemed momentarily lost in thought. I pulled Qi Zhaomu up from the ground and, under everyone's gaze, strode away with great determination. To be honest, I'm still a bit uneasy. After all, there aren't many in the entire city who dare to stand up to their mother-in-law. What are you thinking about, Wanwan? Nothing. I looked at Qi Zhaomu's cheek and gently touched it. Does it still hurt? Qi Zhaomu held my hand. It doesn't hurt, actually. Mother didn't use much strength. I hesitated a bit. It's fine. Wanwan, you did nothing wrong. It was mother who was mistaken. On the day we returned to the Qi residence, Qi Zhaomu and I immediately proposed moving to the southern city villa. My mother-in-law did not stop me, nor did she have any reason to. However, Qi Zhaoyuan came to find me, saying he had something to ask for advice. I was puzzled. I'm not a teacher. Why do you keep asking me for advice? Besides, Qi Zhaomu had finally stabilized emotionally recently. I really don't want anything else to go wrong. Qi Zhaoyuan paused briefly and, facing my unwelcoming attitude, smiled indifferently. This matter can indeed only be asked of sister-in-law. Finally, he added, I'll leave as soon as I'm done asking. All right, then go ahead and ask. Qi Zhaoyuan gazed intently, his expression earnest. Sister-in-law, do you like my elder brother? Yes, I do. Qi Zhaomu pressed further. Why? That's a bit difficult for me to answer. After thinking for a long time, I slowly began to speak. Perhaps it's because of the first peach blossom he brought me in spring, the round fan he constantly waved beside me in summer, every word of caution before going out, and every piece of pastry he brought back for me, no matter when. Qi Zhaomu always took care of me very well. With such a wonderful husband, who wouldn't like him? Hearing my words, Qi Zhaoyuan suddenly laughed, his laughter tinged with a hint of relief. You actually know how to do these things, brother. From Qi Zhaoyuan's tone, it seemed their relationship wasn't that bad after all. What was he like before? Qi Zhaomu never mentioned the past to me. Hearing my question, Qi Zhaoyuan thought for a moment. Actually, it was brother who used to love reading detective novels back then. But after father passed away, mother threw out all of brother's books and made him focus entirely on business. I picked up those books and grew to love them more and more. Later, when I grew up, I went straight into the government office to investigate cases. I never expected Qi Zhaomu to have a fondness for detective novels. I was influenced by my elder brother to walk this path. Qi Zhaoyuan paused. Because of this, after I went missing, my mother became even stricter with my brother. Speaking of these matters, my heart grew heavy. If you are out to condemn somebody, you can always trump up a charge. After a moment of silence, Qi Zhaoyuan suddenly smiled and said, "Has my brother been acting a bit strange lately? Do you know why, sister-in-law?" I nodded, then shook my head. Although I don't know the reason, I suspect it has something to do with you, sister-in-law. Do you remember the first time you met my brother? Qi Zhaoyuan suddenly brought up their first encounter. I remember, it was the Lantern Festival that day. He was dressed in black and we talked about many things. He still carried a faint scent of moon orchid incense about him. Wait, Qi Zhaomu once said that using moon orchid incense was something from a long time ago, and ever since I became close with him, he had always used agarwood. The one using Yulin was Qi Zhaoyuan before my eyes. Seeing the flicker in my eyes, Qi Zhaoyuan smiled faintly and said, "It's exactly what sister-in-law is thinking." No wonder every time the first meeting was mentioned, Qi Zhaomu had that kind of reaction. I rushed off to see Qi Zhaomu. Qi Zhaomu's eyes held a teasing glint. "Why are you running so fast? Wanwan, did you miss me?" I took a few breaths. I already know everything. Those 5 short words froze Qi Zhaomu in place. "Wanwan," I pretended to be angry. "How long were you planning to keep this from me?" Qi Zhaomu forced a bitter smile. "Originally, I intended to keep it from you for a lifetime. Later, when a yuan returned, I thought I'd hide it for as long as possible. At least I could keep you by my side for a little while longer." Seeing the mist forming in Qi Zhaomu's eyes, I panicked. I never said I was going to leave you." Qi Zhaomu froze, as if he hadn't yet processed what was happening. "I'm just angry that you kept this from me for so long. If you had told me earlier, we could have cleared up the misunderstanding sooner. He wouldn't have had to go through such hardship during this time." The first time I saw Qi Zhaomu's fragile beauty, I couldn't bear to say anything more to him. I said, "I like you. I like Qi Zhaomu, my husband." He was the one who would travel dozens of miles just to bring me a box of pastries, yet stubbornly claimed it was just on his way. Qi Zhaomu pulled me into his arms, holding me so tightly as if using all his strength. "I love you, Wanwan." After a long while, I still remembered to remind Qi Zhaomu, "I want to go back and see my mother. It's been delayed for too long." "Alright, we'll go today." I have to say, Qi Zhaomu has extremely strong execution skills. By the time I realized what was happening, I was already sitting in the carriage on my way home. When my mother saw me, her eyes quietly welled up with tears. After lunch, for some reason, she started talking about the time I got lost as a child. Perhaps this has always been a knot in her heart. "It was my fault as your mother. If only I hadn't been so obsessed with trying to win your father back then, and had cared more about you instead. Then, mother, that's all in the past now. I understand how difficult it was for her." Qi Zhaomu frowned slightly beside her. "You got lost before." "Yes. Thankfully someone eventually took me to the magistrate's office." A thought crossed his mind, and Qi Zhaomu asked slowly, "How old were you back then?" As if reading his mind, I immediately thought of something too. "No way, what a coincidence. So why did you send me away back then?" I pouted slightly. "I had already decided to spend my whole life with you, but then you turned around and abandoned me." After discovering that Qi Zhaomu was the little boy from back then, I realized how magical fate truly is. Qi Zhaomu chuckled softly. "I was wrong, but it's not too late to spend your life with me now." Looking at the smile on Qi Zhaomu's face, I felt in high spirits as well. But I always felt as if I had forgotten something. It wasn't until dusk that I pushed open the door to our new home, watching the wispy white smoke rising from the incense burner. A sudden realization flashed through my mind. Qi Xiaomu. Hearing me call him by his full name, Qi Xiaomu looked over with a startled expression. Did you used to like the moon-scale incense long ago? Upon hearing moon-scale incense, a shadow of darkness flickered in Qi Xiaomu's eyes. Yes, then, the scent on your clothes when we first met must have been moon orchid fragrance. Qi Xiaomu stepped forward and grasped my waist. What are you trying to say, Wanwan? I looked intently at the man before me. I want to say. When I first met Qi Jiaoyuan, I told him the scent on him felt familiar and comforting. As for where this familiarity and comfort came from, it goes without saying. Hearing this, Qi Xiaomu's eyes brimmed with joy, as if it were about to overflow. I hugged him back. So, it was you all along. Extra story 1. I met a girl during the Lantern Festival, and her smile was very beautiful. She said her name was UWN. She also said the fragrance on me smelled very pleasant. I said, next time we meet, I would bring some for her. After returning home, I happily told my elder brother about this, but his mind was completely focused on business. How boring. I went through some trouble to arrange the next meeting with that girl. Unfortunately, the case I had been investigating suddenly had an important lead, and I had to go, so I begged my elder brother to go in my place. After all, we look so much alike that most people can't tell us apart. After my repeated requests, my elder brother finally agreed. I was very happy, as this way I could both investigate the case and keep my promise to others. It was already 3 years later when I saw that girl again. She stood at the entrance of the mansion, and the first time she saw me, she called me husband. Later, I found out that she wasn't calling out to me. She had already become my elder brother's wife, my sister-in-law. I was somewhat annoyed. How could my elder brother do this? He clearly knew about my feelings for UWN. I deliberately gave her the moonlit orchid incense, deliberately drew close to her, watching my elder brother grow anxious over her. My testing of her ended the day she said I like it. Perhaps it ended even earlier. I knew when she defied our mother for my elder brother's sake. Her feelings for my elder brother were not built upon lies. Seeing the girl's eyes filled with love as she spoke of her brother, I suddenly felt at peace. In truth, it seems I had only been holding on to resentment all along. But who was I really resenting, my brother, or the person I used to be? I'm not quite sure anymore. Suddenly, I remembered a day from my childhood. I was crouched by the corner of the wall, eavesdropping on the conversation between the nanny and my elder brother. The nanny couldn't bear to see my mother being so strict with my brother, so she secretly told him that the two of us had been mixed up back then. In fact, I should have been the elder brother. If there were no mistakes, perhaps you, the eldest young master, wouldn't have to work so hard now. And, Nanny Liu, Qi Xiaomu interrupted her. Our Yuan and I were born only an incense stick's time apart. What difference does it make? With father away, someone naturally has to shoulder the family's burdens. Besides, mother's attitude toward our Yuan and me has nothing to do with birth order. It's a matter of temperament. I'm simply not as likable as our Yuan. My elder brother pretended not to care on the surface, but I knew. The relationship between mother and brother grew increasingly distant. In the end, I was the one who wronged my brother.